It is story that all the immigrants from other countries who came to live in America were harassed. People were either forced to do bad things for very little money or they were locked in torture cells. They were not treated any better than puppets. The government there just kept talking about what to do with them. The scene cuts and we see JP at a hotel. He is the main character of our movie. While he was picking up orders, his sister arrived and informed him that he had been accepted into a prestigious college. JP becomes happy to hear this. Reaching home, we see that JP's entire family was having a party for Lily. During the party, JP also tells Lily, "I am proud of you, you are very good, and yes, I will miss you too." While they were talking, JP notes that Lily has got a tattoo made behind her ear, about which Lily tells JP, "Please don't tell Mom." The scene cuts and we are shown in the news that the government has now decided that legal immigrants and their children born in America will also be arrested. Because of this order, the police also come to JP's house and arrest his entire family because they were also not American citizens. The police lock up all the parents in another cell while the children in another cell. JP was upset in this situation because instead of putting his sister in jail, she was taken to another place by a bus, but he couldn't do much. The day passes and we see that an officer has called JP. This was a legal officer who tells JP that your mom has been deported from here, and if you want to stay here, you have the option that an American citizen would legally adopt you, but this was also difficult. If JP didn't have to be deported, he also had another option that he would start working as a volunteer in the shelter home built by the government. JP agrees to this, and now the two officials of the shelter home interview him. Along with him, many other immigrants had also come here to give interviews. After the interview, such pictures of all of them are made as if they are criminals. Before going to the old home, an officer tells them the rules. First is that after going there, they will not be able to stay in contact with the outside world. Second is that they will have to follow the curfew imposed by the government. Third is that if they misbehave in any way, they will be sent back to jail. Along with this, a monitor device is worn on their feet, which was going to keep an eye on their every movement. After this, all of them are brought to the old shelter home where they meet the founder. They do not pay attention to his speech. After this, the founder introduces them to her operation officers. One of them was Cynthia and the other was James. When they are going from one facility to another, JP notices an old lady sitting in the garden. She was staring at him intently, holding a lily in her hand. Anyway, he does not pay much attention and moves on. As the tour of this entire shelter home was completed, they were given food. JP was with his entire group at this time because of his friendly nature. He tries to make fun of everyone and even makes fun of his food, which wasn't tasty. A girl in his group looked completely American. He asks her, "Why did you come here?" In response, the girl tells him that she is not American, but Argentinian. Tired of everything, a girl named Camilla in his group tells him, "The more you take things easy, the easier it is not at all." If you think about it, we are in a very bad condition. When no one pays attention to this, she leaves in anger. As she leaves, we see that James comes here and gives everyone their uniforms. Along with that, he also told everyone about their duties. Now in the shelter home, where she had to serve these old people, JP meets the same lady again, whom he had seen in the garden before. He tries to talk to her, but this lady does not say anything, and when he starts reading this book for her, suddenly the lady starts crying and says, we will all die here. We are stuck here." Before she could say anything else here, Cynthia comes in, injects her with a sedative, and takes her away. In the evening, when people sit down to eat again, everyone had a lot to tell. A boy tells them that "I think that behind dark glasses, officials keep an eye on us, and along with it, the behavior of that lady, I think there is something wrong here." This boy was very scared and wanted to leave soon. Despite being forbidden by others, he goes there and tries to open the door, setting off a security alarm. The security officer attacks him with a taser gun and takes him away. The scene cuts, and we see that they all had left. When JP gets up to go to the washroom in the middle of the night, he notices an owl outside the facility. He ignores it and goes to the washroom. As he comes out of the washroom, the same old lady whom he was trying to talk to attacks him. She was repeatedly saying that Virgil will get you out of here. Before this old lady could cause any harm to JP, Cynthia comes in right time and makes the old lady unconscious, while James, their leader, scolds JP for his weakness. The next day, they are taken to a ward where all were serious patients. The founder of this place apologizes to JP and says, "I apologize for what happened tonight. The door of this ward was left open at night because of my mistake, allowing this lady to escape." Hearing all this, the rest of the people leave, but JP requests to stay here and work. After hearing this, James was speechless, but here, the founder tells him to be polite to JP. As JP went to put a patient on his bed, suddenly, an old man lying on the bed next to him bit him so hard that he fainted. When he woke up, he was happy to see that the ward he was moved to was the one where his sister used to work, but unfortunately, all this was his illusion. When he came to his senses, he saw that it was a member of his group who was bandaging him. After dinner, they get together again and were talking about the girl who tried to escape from here and was caught by the security. When they ask the head of this ward, Cynthia, about her, Cynthia says that girl has been sent back to jail, but after her departure, a boy from Big Mac Tab tells his group that Cynthia is lying. Look, her inhaler is here, and he doesn't go anywhere without his inhaler. He must have been hidden somewhere here, and they couldn't do anything here. They come back on their duties, and Big Mac now goes to another old man's room with the same old lady so that these two can talk to each other and lighten their hearts. Meanwhile, when he turns on the TV, we see from behind the man's hand who was lying on the bed turned weirdly. Before Big Mac turns back and sees him, his hand goes back to its place. Big Mac goes closer to him and checks his breathing. He found out that this man had stopped breathing, maybe he died, but before he could check his pulse, suddenly, the man stood up from the bed. His bones, his whole body started turning strangely. He even turned upside down and started walking like a monster. At this time, he was no less than a ghost. Big Mac also gets scared of him and leaves, and then we got the news that man has died. Due to his death, there was a lot of commotion in the facility. That's why the founders held a meeting and announced that the man's death will be investigated as soon as possible. You guys should focus on your duties for now. Big Mac told his entire group about the death of that man, how he died strangely. After this meeting, the founder of this place comes to the ground with James and JP and introduces them to his owl named Virgil. This Virgil used to keep an eye on this place at night. The founder's purpose of bringing these two here was not to introduce them to the owl. He tells these two that I know you guys don't like each other. That's why I want you to hug each other in front of me and remove the distance between you. To show the founder they hug each other, but whisper insults in each other's ears. They didn't forgive each other. JP hugged James so that he could take the key out of his pocket. At night, we see that JP, along with himself, succeeds in removing the ankle monitor of his entire group. They didn't want to run away from here, but at least they wanted to enjoy a little here. Everyone has a lot of fun here, and during all this, JP comes close to one of his group members. When JP woke up in the morning, there was an old lady in front of him. He was worried about what happened to his group fellow, but then he found out that she was actually an old lady whom his friend had brought here to prank him. Now, before anyone can see them, they put on their ankle monitors and start their duty. Now the old lady, who used to observe JP very closely, calls him over and gives him a cootie catcher. Before she says anything to him, Cynthia and James come here. Cynthia had taken him away by making her unconscious. JP starts playing with the cootie catcher given by the old lady and notices that the word "help" is written on it. So, the old lady was in some trouble and was asking for help. Knowing this, JP gets worried and secretly goes to the old lady's ward where the lady was sleeping. He woke up the old lady and wanted to ask her what happened, but her sleep was very deep and maybe it was because of the injection given by Cynthia. Before he could wake her up, he hears some noise here. JP quickly hid under this woman's bed and saw that Cynthia and James had given this old lady some injections. Because of this, the old lady becomes even more weak. When they left, JP goes back to the old lady. He saw something behind the lady's ear. When JP removed his hair, he saw a butterfly tattoo behind her ear. As he saw this, he realized that this old lady was not anyone else but her sister. This old lady was repeatedly giving JP clues to recognize her because her name was Lily. That's why she always held lilies. She also made this cootie catcher because JP and Lily used to play with this in their childhood. JP's condition was getting worse. He was not able to understand what was going on here. Before he could run away, James captures him, punches him, and grabs him. The next day, we see JP's group, who all were worried because of JP's sudden disappearance. This was not the first time this happened to them. Even before this, their companion got missing, and now they were not going to sit quietly. They decide that now they will investigate this matter. That's why Camilla included James in her conversations, while another girl with Big Mac goes to James's office and starts investigating. Here, Big Mac gets the blueprints of this facility, and in this blueprint, there was also a blueprint of a weird machine. They don't know what was the purpose of it. While investigating, they find out that Chris is in solitary right now, the same boy who was missing earlier. Here, James was fed up with what Camilla said. That's why he goes back to his office. Big Mac and that girl hide behind the furniture to escape. They were lucky that James did not stay here for long. Before they leave and tell their companion everything, James follows Big Mac and gives him the task of tightening the screws of the vent. As a result, Big Mac started working. While on the other side, an old patient attacked Cynthia. To escape this attack, the officer standing here tries to stop the man. That man gets stuck on Big Mac's ladder, and so Big Mac falls with the ladder and falls unconscious. The unconscious Big Mac was taken away by all of them, while now the scene cuts and we are shown JP. Half of JP's face was looking like an old man, and his hands and feet were tied with a chair, just like the other three people present here. JP notices that James and Cynthia are doing something wrong here. At this time, James is making a chemical by which they make people old. JP also noticed that the door from which James and Cynthia used to go out, it used to open with a code. That's why as they left, he started working to get himself released. The scene cuts, and we are shown the scene of the outside world where a businessman and a politician running a restaurant chain successfully because the food here is very cheap and delicious. The secret behind this was that they were eating the flesh of humans. The flesh of those humans who were being made old in a shelter home. We see that these humans are put in a crusher and their burger patty is made. Despite knowing this, the businessman was happy because he believed that such things should happen to people like them because they are not America's party, so they should not even live in America. The scene cuts, and we see JP who has released himself from the chair and reached near the gate. Now here he needed a password with which he could escape from here. At this time, he remembers that woman who attacked him while going to the washroom and told him that you will be saved from Virgil. As he puts the code, Virgil, the door opens and he was free now. James discovers that he escaped, so he also informs Cynthia and the founder who were going to make Big Mac old by giving him drugs. The three quickly leave to find JP. We find out that Big Mac was only pretending to be unconscious so that he could reach his lab. After opening his eyes, he sees that James forgot his keys in chaos. On the other hand, we are shown that JP is trying to escape because his body has become very weak. While running, he enters another room, and upon seeing it, he is terrified to discover that they used to place all immigrants in a chopping machine and kill them, and the flesh of these people was now being eaten by Americans. As he comes out of this room, he finds a member of his group whom he was supposed to tell everything, but in the meantime, James also came in front of him. Seeing James, this girl injected him with an injection and made him unconscious. We found out that she was only involved with these people as a spy, and in fact, she was a part of James's team. When JP comes to his senses, he finds himself in front of the founder and sees that the girl whom he had started liking, whom he thought to be his group member, is dancing with this man. As he comes to his senses, this man leaves this girl and tells JP that she is also a cannibal, like Americans, that is, he also loves to eat flesh. At this time, he was on drugs, and before he would get unconscious again, he asks, "What did you do with Lily?" In response, the girl says nothing. We just gave her some hormones because of which her flesh is able to eat and digestive. In the side effect of these hormones, people also get old, and it becomes important to make people old, and no one questions the death of old people. As we saw that a man died strangely, that too was due to this hormone. At this time, he was going through a process due to which his flesh becomes soft. Here we see Amelia, who was the only one left of her group. At this time, she was trying to remove her ankle monitor so that she can go and save her other group members, and in the meantime, someone throws a key from above to her. It was Big Mac who had stolen James's key. With this key, she opens her ankle monitor and goes out of here, and her attention goes to the same dark glass about which they always talked. In anger, she picks up a chair and breaks this glass, and there, she is shown a lot of computers where a lot of people used to keep an eye on them. Before she goes anywhere else, James comes and injects her in the throat, causing her to become unconscious. When she regained consciousness, she was with JP in a ward, and both had now become half old. A TV was on in front of them, showing a very hateful speech by that politician against immigrant people. Hearing this speech, their anger grows even more, and they promise that they will definitely get out of here and expose this man's bad intentions. They will bring him in front of everyone. Before leaving here, he meets his sister Lily and promises her that he will definitely get her out of here. Before they could get out of the ward, the girl comes here with James and Cynthia with a tray of injections so that she can weaken these people even more. Seeing them, Amelia drops their trolley from her leg. All the people present here, whom they had made old, were all angry. All of them stand up and start moving around these three. They were going crazy for taking revenge. Now they had caught them badly. Taking advantage of the situation, JP succeeds in getting out of here, but his bad luck is that the security guard sees him. JP takes him to the medicine room and struggles with him, but no matter how hard he fought, he was growing weaker. Before the security guard kills him, Big Mac enters from behind, strangles the security guard with a rope, and kills him. The fight in the ward was still going on. These old people were definitely weak, but they didn't give up. They were fighting these three, but somehow they tried to escape from them. Before they could get out of the ward, even more old people come towards them, and now they would have killed them. But before that, a security guard tries to enter here. Big Mac stuck him into the door and breaks his arm. Taking advantage of the situation, Amelia takes JP's sister Lily and comes out and gets into a lift. They get down to a floor that they didn't know about. JP goes ahead to find out how to get out of here. On the other hand, we are shown above that Big Mac had now become the leader of all the old people, and he had come forward to free them all. The whole group had now left on the road. When they try to ask for help from a woman sitting in the car, she gets scared and runs away from there. The scene cuts, and we are shown JP, who was trying to get out of here, and sees his other fellow here. As he tries to help him, someone attacks him from behind. It was no one else but the founder who wanted to kill JP, but JP attacks his head with the bottle lying next to him and gets rid of himself, but since JP had become old, so the other person controls him again and lay him onto a crushing machine. Before JP dies, Camilla attacks the founder's legs and saves JP. Here, JP's other fellow was being twisted in jail strangely. JP's sister Lily was worried about this. In this worry, she presses a button by mistake which opens the boy's jail. The boy is freed, and before dying, he attacks the founder who was taken control of JP. Before dying, he kills the founder and puts him on the crushing machine, and then the three of them saw with their eyes that the machine had turned him into a burger patty. Unfortunately, JP's other fellow dies, and the three of them come out of the facility, sitting far away. They were watching this facility. The scene cuts, and we are shown Big Mac, who was on the road outside while releasing his companions. They see the three of them, and as he goes near them, their eyes were closed. He tried to wake them up, but they didn't wake up. He thought the three of them died, but the three of them were just pranking him. The three of them were still alive. Their efforts brought the dirty faces of all the politicians in front of the people. The politician, whose burger chain was operating while these people were being killed, had it shut down. Not only that, he was also arrested. Along with him, all the government officials were also arrested. A new government came in and implemented very good rules for immigrants. All the old immigrants who were imprisoned were also released. This story concludes by showing this.